On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The warm-up on Talk Sport.
A very good morning to you. You are listening to Talk Sport, and this is the Saturday morning warm-up. Now then, old Mike Graham is still stretched out on a sun lounger in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, or somewhere like that out there. So I'm delighted to be joined again today, as I was last week, by my very good, but not very old pal, Andy Townsend.
Good morning, Mike.
And good morning indeed to you, Andy. Now, in the show today, why football club chiefs should start hiring lip readers to get the lowdown on the opposition. You think that's slightly offbeat? Well, we can explain all that to you in a minute, OK? Wayne Rooney back for Everton? Not for me. Seriously, not for me. But not for the reasons that you might think, that I don't think he's any good. It's just that I don't think you should ever go back at that level. And has Jose got any right to start moaning about living in one of the most luxurious hotels in this country, particularly when he lives in a county where some of the wealthiest properties exist and where there are more Rolls Royces registered than even in Surrey? I'm talking about Cheshire, of course. And was Mauricio Pochettino right not to congratulate Claudio Ranieri on his Premier League success last season? All this and much, much more over the next 2 hours. You're listening to Talk Sport, and it's the Saturday morning warm-up. And a very good morning again. You are, of course, listening to Talk Sport. I'm with Andy Townsend. Andy, I want to say a really big welcome to you to this show.
Thank you,
Let's
Mike.
face it, last week and this week you have rescued what could have been, a slightly difficult situation. I mean, look, not many people miss old MG, do they? You know what I mean? But
Where is he, Mike? Whereabouts is he?
Well, I think he's on his way back now, so I think I can
Right.
tell you that he went off to Sicily. That's
Okay.
where Mount Vesuvius is, isn't it?
Sorry,
yes,
I think it is.
Do you don't know European geography very well.
No,
I mean, you did spend most of your career traversing Europe to play football matches in various guises.
And what was it? What's this? Just a little holiday, is that? Or
Well, it's half term, isn't it? He's a
right.
family man, so he decided to take his children away and have a bit of a break. Now, don't begrudge him that. It's just that, of course, when one half of the two Mikes duo goes into abeyance,
Yes.
then the other half has to work twice as hard. But that's not an unusual thing. Anyway, Andy, great to see you in here today. We've been having a chat about all the issues which have come up this week and some more which we've hit on ourselves. Now, what do you think about my idea for lip readers for football clubs? I mean, I tell you where I got this idea from.
Go on.
When I was right at the top of the tree in Fleet Street, when I was a news executive supremo,
Yes.
I came across the original idea of hiring lip readers to watch the royal wedding between
Charles and Diana.
Diana, Princess of Wales, and Charles. Did I ever tell you, by the way, I broke the news of the death of Diana, Princess
you
of
did,
Wales?
actually, yeah, you did.
I'll tell you again if you've got a minute after
All
the
right,
show.
you
Yeah,
can
but
feel
whatever.
free.
Anyway, the point of the story is that by watching it on live TV, you could actually tell, if you had lip readers sitting next to you, what Charles was saying to Diana to try and calm Diana's nerves. The difficulty with Diana was, for some of it, she had a veil over her face, but
Yes.
it didn't matter because these lip readers are very, very clever people.
Didn't they have a microphone in there, sort of picking.
No, not at all.
Obviously,
Not-
the vows they did. The vows were broadcast around the world.
Yes, but this was not switched on. It's a bit like in our studios. We have studios when the mics are live, studios when the mics are not live,
Right.
and the microphones are only live, as you quite rightly say, for the vows. But that initial moment when
Yes.
Diana was walked up the aisle by her father, Earl
Yes.
Spencer, as he was then. Well, he would be now, but he's dead, if you see what I mean. But there's a new Earl Spencer, who's
Yes.
her brother, obviously. It was her father.
Yes.
And we picked up right away that he was trying to calm her nerves, and she was very nervous. But what the lip readers can do, because you said to me it wouldn't work on a football match because the coaches now put their hands across their mouths when I'll whisper like this in my microphone, talking to my chief coach and all that.
Yes.
They can tell from the facial muscles and the body language exactly what sort of knowledge or information they're trying to impart into the other.
So you're trying to tell me from facial muscles, with someone with their hand over their mouth,
Yeah.
somebody else can fathom
Yes.
what substitute they're about to make, whether it be a central defender or whether it's a midfield player,
Yes.
what the tactics are going to be from someone's eyes and and cheekbones flickering.
Not so much that. It's more that, managers these days walk around with these clipboards all the time and they're all scribbling things down on them.
Van Gaal did that a lot. He's always done
Van Gaal did. Well, yeah, he did. He sort of clutched it to his chest. And do you remember his famous collapse, to illustrate to the linesman that they should have got a penalty?
Correct.
He actually took it with him to the ground, didn't he?
Did.
But the guy who I'm thinking about is Villas-Boas. I mean, he was forever scratching down. Now,
well, they all scribble a little bit down here and there, just as little reminders, pointers. Then maybe when they get in at half time, if there's something they see they don't particularly like, usually they'll scribble something down and first thing they'll do is they'll just refer to those notes as they get in the dressing room at half time.
Now, if the opposition manager had somebody in the stand opposite, sitting next to a lip reader, and he had a pair of binoculars, that lip reader would be able to read what instructions he'd just given to the player coming on.
Wouldn't you be better off just to employ someone that's got a very high-powered pair of binoculars just to read what he's writing down?
No, you couldn't do that. You'd have to be behind him then.
Why don't you get someone behind him?
Well, you might get his body in his way. I mean, that's too difficult in a crowded football ground. But if you had somebody opposite with binoculars watching it, and let's face it, the managers don't usually put their hand over their mouth when they're trying to instruct the player what to do when he goes on.
Right.
You would immediately learn of the new tactical formation of what they're trying to do when he comes on before they hit you on the on the surprise, the blitzkrieg as it was called.
Yes.
To try and get the element of surprise, which of course is something that that footballers need.
I've actually been reliably informed this morning that practice of actually lip reading the opposition, because they do it a lot in American football apparently.
Right.
Apparently it's illegal, Mike, in American football to do that.
Yeah. What, you mean I'm already ahead of the game because South America have already introduced it?
Well,
That's
possibly.
amazing.
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, so you're actually saying rather than go and sign a player in the January transfer window, the first thing that a lot of the major clubs should do is go and employ a lip reader.
I don't think you're taking this seriously.
Well,
because obviously you don't sign a lip reader. Lip readers are all over the place. They're essential people.
Yeah, but you can't have one work. Listen, you have to have your own. If you're going to have one, you might as well have your own one.
I see what you mean. In case they get hired by another club the following week or something, then there's no sense of loyalty. If I'm telling you, if I ran a football club with the sort of revenues you get these days, I would employ our own lip reader without a shadow of a doubt. Because why not? Why not? It's not going to be that expensive, is it? If a lip reader costs you £100,000 a year, that's about half of your star player's weekly wage.
Trouble is, he's across the other side of the stand, the ground, as you said.
Yes.
And so
he texts the coach who's sitting next to the manager on the other side of the ground.
But all this info, Mike, by the time he's got that text sent in a stadium, you ever tried to send a text in a 50,000 all-seater stadium? It doesn't send. It won't go.
All right, there's no reason why you can't call him, and the guy can have obviously, there's no rules against a coach having an earpiece in his ear to take calls and that sort of thing.
I'm not sure about all that.
I just think it's a very innovative idea. I've had innovative ideas before about football, which eventually have been taken on. People tend to deride them initially and then find out, actually, I remember old Mike Parry saying that 10 years ago.
That's true.
And it's happened. Things have happened.
I'm not so sure that's going to take off, that one, Michael, I'm afraid. But listen, I mean, I'd be very interested to hear what our listeners think about stuff like that.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. Well, of course I would.
Well, I would as well. So I want to hear from the listeners, please. This is the TalkSport warm-up. I'm with Andy Townsend. I'm Porky Parry. And you are listening to TalkSport.
Driven to the limit. Power steering.
TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport. Andy, you're getting a bit of stick for your geographical knowledge, mate. I'm sorry. Well, this one here, Mr. Parry, you know nothing about European geography. Vesuvius is near the Bay of Naples and nowhere near Sicily.
Well, hold on. I never even said it. You threw it at me.
No, I threw it at you and you said, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. But the mountain we are talking about is Mount Etna. That's the one on Sicily.
Correct.
Didn't you know that?
Where's Krakatoa?
Hey? What?
Where's Krakatoa?
Krakatoa. Is that some kind of sushi dish or something you get in those restaurants I don't use?
That sums up your geographical knowledge. You thought that was a pub in the West End?
Not at all. We're getting lots of positive response to the idea of lip readers in football grounds, Andy. So innovation all the time here on TalkSport. And, the more I think about it, the more I think you're right. And I tell you where else you need lip readers as well.
Hold on.
Yeah.
When you say you're right.
Yes.
So you come into the show this morning and throw this idea at me.
Yes.
Right, which is your idea.
Yes.
And now you're saying the more you think about it, I'm right.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it's nothing to do with me.
No, what I'm saying is, you didn't knock it down like most of my ideas over the years. And I've told you there should have been wing mirrors on jockeys and all that, and you've knocked it out the door and all that kind of stuff. So you're right to have faith in me.
Ejector seats in F1 cars.
Well, yeah, okay, all right, that one needed thinking through. And yet, funnily enough, Bernie Ecclestone is accused this week of saying, let's put more walls around Formula One racing tracks so that more cars crash into them because people come to... He didn't actually say that. He insinuated that, the element of danger is something that people like. He says that's why people go to the Cirque du Soleil or whatever that is, because all these acrobats apparently spin around in the air and there's no safety net.
Is that right?
Is that right? Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't, no.
No, you want to go and see it.
We've really got the best of the best here today.
We're really pleased with it.
Yeah. Talk Sport.
OK, you're listening to myself, Mike Parry, and Andy Townsend here on Talk Sport with you through till 1 o'clock on the warm-up. Now, Rooney has been the centre of a lot of discussion this week, Andy, for various reasons.
Yep.
One of the reasons was because Everton manager Ronald Koeman started the speculation about a possible return to Goodison Park by saying this.
First of all, I think it's a great player. He's still not finished his career. I don't know how his situation is. I need to respect that situation. That's not my problem. But even when we get one time the possibility that Rooney is an option for Everton, I'm very pleased.
Right, OK. Now, we'd like to hear from you about Wayne Rooney. Everton are playing tomorrow, playing West Ham at Goodison.
Yep.
Delighted to say I'm going to be going up there. And, it's bound to be the talk in all the lounges about, the Wayne Rooney situation. We remember the boys so fondly. If you'd like to give us a call and talk about that, whether you're an Everton fan or not, you may well be a Manchester United fan for whom he's been playing for the last 12 years, please give us a call here. Got Andy Townsend here, a former professional footballer who will have a view on it. 08717 223344. Give us a call, please, and myself, the Portmeister, and we'd love to debate that with you.
The thing is, Mike, with Wayne Rooney, look, what you've got to ask yourself, what you've got to drop, and you've never really been able to do it ever since he left, right? There's always been a little bit. I know you've always admired him and you've loved him as a player, but there's been something there because he went.
No.
Hold on, Mike, let me finish.
Go on, yeah, sure.
Right. So now I think you need to drop that little bit and bit of baggage and just say, will he improve us? Now, of course, on going on what we've seen recently by Wayne's very high standards, he's not in the best spell of his career. We know that.
Yes.
But is he finished? No, he's most certainly not finished. Would he improve your team, your squad? Yeah. I think he would. I genuinely think he would. And I think you've got to forget about what happened 12 years ago and where he went and where he started. He gave your club a lot of money. Yeah. How much did you sell him for? How much was it?
Well, in total, nearly 30 million. It was in
for
stages.
A kid.
Oh, it was a world record for a teenager.
So that sort of money for Everton at that time, prior to your new ownership,
we needed the money.
Was everything.
We needed the money. Everton were a selling club, and it saved us from penury, really. There's no doubt about that. If you want to get involved in this debate, listeners, by the way, 08717 223344. But the point is, Andy, in those days, Everton were a different club to these days. These days, we are extremely ambitious. We have a new owner in Mr. Mashiri. We believe we've got funds. And frankly, look, I don't want Wayne Rooney back at Everton, but not because I think he's a poor player, not because I think that there's any element of washed up or end of career. It's not the way forward for Everton; it's the way backwards. That's all I see it as.
It doesn't necessarily mean it lacks ambition to me. The fact that Ronald Koeman, if Wayne Rooney were to be available, and by the way, Jose has come out and has said quite vehemently that look, it's rubbish and it's newspaper stories, and he may well be playing against Burnley today. We don't know, but. I don't think it's a decision that if it did happen that you should look upon as one that is taking you backwards rather than forwards.
Oh, I think it is because when we want to remember, I want to remember Wayne Rooney as the boy who ended Arsenal's unbeaten run of nearly a season with that fantastic goal. I want to remember him scoring 2 goals against Wrexham when hardly anybody in this country had ever heard of him on a cold November night or whatever month it was. And I want to remember him as the boy who literally lit up the championships in 2004. We were both there in Portugal.
Yes.
And actually, people were saying then, this guy could be the greatest footballer ever. That's how good he was. He was a force of nature. That's where I want to remember Wayne Rooney. Now, I sometimes see Wayne Rooney in the lounges at Everton. If Everton got a game and Manchester United not playing, he brings his son and all that. And without doubt, he is part of the history and heritage of our club. But I don't want that memory and that history and heritage, which he's already contributed, to be added to.
You're not taking a 35-year-old that's knackered.
No, I totally agree. You're not.
How old is Wayne now? Was he 31?
He's 30. He was 30 about 2 weeks ago.
Right. Well, there you go. So he's just 30. Listen, he's having a moment in his career where he's finding it tough. He's not playing. He doesn't look like he's confident. And when let me tell you, anyone that's played this game will absolutely. vouch for this. The very second that your form starts to drop, confidence starts to drop, you look a yard off the pace. You look a bit sluggish. You feel a bit sluggish.
Sorry, he was 31. I beg your pardon.
31. So everything all of a sudden starts to go. But it doesn't mean to say that it can't change and that he can't ride it out, come through it, and actually and start to reproduce. Which is why Mourinho's saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
But if Everton should have the opportunity of signing Wayne Rooney, if that's because I don't think. Because listen, Wayne's on an incredible amount of money at Manchester United.
Well, business-wise, he couldn't come back, could he?
Yes, he could because if Wayne come back to Everton, he's not coming back for the money, Mike. He can go to China, he can go here, he can go anywhere.
Do you know what? I don't agree. I would have agreed with you had it not been the era of billionaire.
Listen, he's not going to get anything like the deal he's on now.
Of course he's not. But his management team will say that still are jobs that will pay you £300,000 a week in China or in America. Or closer to £300,000 a week.
Which is what I just
said. Everton
would
be mad. Everton could commit £300,000 a week to one player, but they would be mad to do it.
If he came back, he's not coming back for $300,000 a week. He would be coming back to Everton. He would be saying, listen, this is where I started. This is where I might finish it. This is what and I want to now show everybody that I'm not finished. So he's got a spark, he's got a reason. He's not walking through the door at 35 just because geographically it suits him to come back to Everton. He's coming back because he's still got a bit to do yet, plenty to do and plenty to offer. I think he would improve Everton's fortunes and Everton's squad. What it does for Ross Barkley, of course, is an interesting question, but it appears that already...
Well, do you think Mr. Koeman might have actually dropped that into his, it was a staged press conference, it always is on a Thursday, before his was on Friday because the game's Sunday, and do you think he might have just thought, Ross Barkley will be listening to this?
I'm not sure if Ross is doing... Well, he's not. He's not doing enough as a number 10 right now to absolutely guarantee that shirt in that position. I actually think Ross Barkley would benefit, Mike, from playing with someone like Rooney in that number 10. If Barkley was playing as a number 8, just one side of the midfield boys, and Wayne Rooney as a 10 in behind Lukaku, I tell you what, I still think that's pretty dangerous, and there's a lot to consider there.
Don't you think that Mr. Koeman now in his first season, he's looked at the squad. There was apparently some frustration. He didn't sign as many players as he wanted to in the summer. And surely he is actually, now that he's made the position clear with Ross Barkley, I mean, he was ruthless when he took Ross Barkley off at Sunderland.
Yes.
We were 0-0 at half-time, and he didn't care about his ego or his reputation. He'd get him off. Reshuffles the team. We win 3-0 with 3 second-half goals, hat-trick from Lukaku. Don't you think that Mr. Koeman is now saying, I've now got literally a blank sheet of white paper like I'm waving at you, okay?
Yes.
And he's actually saying... I start again. And I don't think starting again with a player who was first there 12 years ago is the way forward, that's all.
Listen...
I think Rooney will do a great job, probably for somebody else if he leaves Manchester United. I'm not sure he ever will leave Manchester United.
I think it's purely because he was your property once. He was your find, he was your kid. He was blue right the way through. And because he went to United, I think the reason why you're saying you don't want him back is because of that. It's not because he's finished as a player.
No.
Mike, if in the summer I'd have said to you, you're signing Zlatan, you're signing Ibrahimovic to play up front, I bet you'd have gone, do you know what? Big personality, big profile.
I would have done, but for one season, he'd be a 1 season or 2 season player.
Well, if Wayne Rooney was to leave Manchester United, if he was. Look, I don't see too many clubs paying massive amounts of money for him because United, Mike, if they want to let him go, I would think United will be just as wise to say, Wayne, thanks very much for everything you've done. On you go, because they'll be saving themselves a fortune in salary.
But all I would say, Andy, literally all I would say is that Ibrahimovic is a journeyman footballer of the highest quality. He's won the league title everywhere he's gone. He has got a superb track record of winning things, and that's why he's been taken on by so many different clubs, including Manchester United. But Wayne Rooney's been a one-club man for the last 12, 13 years. He came back to Goodison the first time after he transferred from Everton, and he kissed the Manchester United badge. And what he was telling the Everton fans, who he loved, was, look, I'm sorry, I now play for Manchester United. That's always been his commitment, right? If he comes back, I'm not sure he can revert back to what he was, that was all.
It's an interesting take. I'd like to hear from some Everton fans, Mike, on that, whether or not and whether or not they still feel the same way as you, or whether they could see what I'm saying, the value, the justification in bringing a great player into your camp, what it can do for you. Fattening up the squad is just as important as having players that go bang straight into that starting 11, and bringing someone like Rooney in encourages others to come to the club. It encourages other great players to be more aware of it, of your club, Everton. And I think if United were prepared to do it, I think it'd be good business for Everton. I do.
OK, well, we don't see eye to eye on that one, but that's not unusual for Mr. Townsend and I. Thank you for all the lovely messages coming here, Andy, saying, great to hear you two boys together. Always loved your show on Talk Sport. They're talking more about me than you, Andy. But
of course.
As you're the visiting expert today, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Talk Sport.
Can they rescue this game?
Learn to love the ball.
Wiry, thin and whip it quick.
On DAB, Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Fabulous shot. Don't miss out.
Oh, yeah. Talk Sport.
Do you know a little while ago you mentioned half a mic? Yes. I was half a mic effectively.
That's right, yeah.
Now, again, I've seen a lot of pictures of you and MG obviously on the internet and whatever, and up to many high jinks. Let me put it that way, you two,
well,
right?
People are a bit surprised I didn't shoot out to Sicily and join him by the swimming pool like I did last time we went on holiday. But of course I had to catch up on work. Exactly.
And now that you've both got this sort of long hair, kind of old man, kind of still trying to hang on to a little bit of youth look about
nice,
you.
Isn't it? That's very
you
nice.
have. And look, because you're both quite hairy.
What?
Well, you reminded me a bit of the hairy bikers.
The hairy bikers?
Right, and you could
although he fancies himself as a bit of a cook.
The hairy mikers.
The hairy mikers, I like that. Yeah. The hairy mikers. No, the reason he keeps his hair long is to distract from the rest of his face, which is pudgy and white and looks like a bag of dough. Yeah, bloated bag of dough. He wears those big black glasses, with the distinctive frames.
Yes.
Because then people will think he looks more like Eric Morecambe than he does like a bloated, fat-faced,
Alan Pardew's got a pair of them.
Alan Pardew?
He's got a pair of them glasses.
Yeah, he has now, hasn't he? Yeah, that's right. I've seen him on telly. But no, the problem with him is he moves slowly. Whenever we do a live show, he strolls onto the stage like, he's a sophisticated. In fact, he's usually had so much drink before we start the shows, he can barely find his way on stage. But that's another story. I want to talk to you somebody much more relevant than old MG, and that is, of course, Jose Mourinho. Now, Jose's been at the centre of quite a number of things this week, complaining that he doesn't like living in a hotel. Now, Andy, you have played for clubs where you've had to leave the family home. You've had to live in the northeast, I think, when you were formerly a Villa player. So how does the family life work then?
Well, look, it is when you get to that point where your kids are perhaps coming towards the end of their school or heading off into uni, whatever. Then you have to make that decision, don't you, about whether you're going to move everybody up. Now, it would appear that Jose's family are firmly entrenched in London. They're getting on with their lives, and good luck to them. But I don't think you can ever use that as an excuse. As a manager, he has to be setting the tone for.
Yes.
Can you imagine if Ibra knocks on his door or Paul Pogba knocks on the door and says, "I can't settle"?
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't settle? We're paying you 200,000+ quid a week.
No, I agree.
£90 million I've just spent on you. I find all this a little bit odd, and I think the wives are the ones that actually. You speak to a lot of players' wives, managers' wives. Whatever. They're the ones that are in the car every 5 minutes, hiking up and down, Mike, trying to be with their hubbies.
I was in the Northwest last week, actually. In fact, on Tuesday, when old MG was lying on the sun lounger in Sicily by a swimming pool, I was actually wearing a hairnet and walking round a Porky scratching factory in Wigan.
Why was you wearing a hairnet?
So that, none of the hair gets into the manufacturing process and all that kind of stuff. And it was a great experience, actually, but I'll tell people more about that later. But old MG, of course, not interested in any work and all that. But the point I'm making is you drive through some beautiful Cheshire countryside.
You do.
And if you chose to go and see a couple of your mates who live up there, you go to some beautiful houses. I don't understand why he's living in one of the most high-profile hotels in Manchester.
Nor do I.
We stayed there last time we did a show there, and it's a beautiful hotel, and
it's a lovely,
very distinctive.
Beautiful hotel. It is.
The only people I've ever seen there are people who are clearly rich and famous. A lot of footballers' wives use it for lunch, ladies who lunch and all that kind of stuff. So it is high profile. So I don't understand why he hasn't rented a £3.5 million house.
What was you doing? Just sitting around in reception? What was you doing in there?
What do you mean I was doing there?
Well,
I was at a meeting.
You wouldn't have checked into a room there. Why'd you have a meeting there?
I had a meeting.
Because you're just being busy. You just want to mix. You just want to see Jose and just get that selfie.
No, it was before Jose went to live there. It was about a year ago, actually, and we just met somebody up there and we decided to have lunch there. It's very nice, by the way. But if I told you there are more Rolls-Royces registered in Cheshire than there are in Surrey, and Surrey, of course, it contains Cobham, and Cobham contains Chelsea's training ground and all the associated wealth that goes with that.
Yes.
And Cobham itself, where every shop now, or every other one seems to be a clothes shop. I don't understand why Jose's confined to a hotel bedroom.
No, I don't, and I think that the best thing he could do certainly would be to go and get himself a decent place.
Yep.
There's, as you mentioned, the likes of Alderley Edge and Hale
Barnes and all that kind of
Bowden,
stuff. Yeah.
All these areas are such lovely areas to live. Finding a nice property in a nice area where he can have a bit of peace and quiet, he can keep himself away from everybody. It's not a problem.
Are you kind of saying as well, if he chooses to stay in this hotel, that perhaps Mrs. Mourinho should be jumping in the car a bit more often and whizzing up the motorway?
Of course you do.
And, providing him with a bit of a shoulder to cry.
Absolutely.
We all need, what's that famous song? Everybody needs somebody sometime, okay?
Correct. Who sung that?
Everybody needs somebody sometime. Dean Martin.
Was it?
It's Dean Martin.
Was it?
And did you know that Dean Martin used to come on the stage with a glass of whiskey in his hand and everybody needs somebody sometime. And he used to sing as though he's inebriated. Right. In fact, the glass had cold tea in it. He didn't hardly drink at all.
You're not thinking of Sammy Davis?
No. He was a member of the Rat Pack, along with Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and the other guy who was a friend of the Kennedys,
No.
No, I don't either. And, Peter Ludlow or somebody, was it?
Is that right?
Something like that, yeah. But, no, the point of the story is that we all think, we're an island. There's the famous expression, every man is an island, okay?
Okay.
But every man is not an island. Every man needs, a communication process with those around him. Because if you don't, you blow up, and you have insinuated to me that you think the responsibility is not just for Jose to establish himself some kind of family base in the Northwest. You think that the family... and he's got teenage children up, in upper years, 14, 15, 16, 17, I think. And maybe they should be trying a bit harder to get up there.
You've got to get that bit. You have to get that sorted out. And he has to be where he's got to be at Manchester. He's got to be there morning, noon, and night to try and turn that giant club around and revive their fortunes.
Yes.
And I think the family have to somehow accommodate around him, do whatever they've got to do to get there and help him.
Yes. Well, I'm not being a professional footballer myself, I wouldn't know about that. I do remember talking to Merce, who was your teammate at Middlesbrough.
Well, we did it.
Literally getting on the train every day to Middlesbrough, training and get back on the train and coming back south to St Albans where he lived.
Very true.
Well,
Absolutely right.
that is trying, to say the least. But a manager can't do that, Andy, because that manager, once he's come off the training pitch, has another 12 hours work to do on every other issue in the club for which he's responsible.
Quite right.
Particularly if your club is not doing as well as you would like it to do. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Talk Sport. This is Mike Porky Parry and with Andy Townsend. It's the warm-up show. Mike Graham is still on a sun lounger in the shadow of Mount Etna. Now, you got that, Andy? Mount Etna.
Yes, I've
not
got it now.
Mount Vesuvius, like you tried to tell our millions of listeners a bit earlier on, OK? We're going to be talking to you right up till 1 o'clock. We've got a few subjects we've got to get into. Mr. Townsend has acquired a power bike, is it?
Electric bike, Michael.
Electric bike. We'll get onto that in a second. We're going to talk about Mauricio Pochettino, because he says it doesn't matter that I didn't congratulate Claudio Ranieri for winning the Premier League last season. And, of course, the two clubs meet this weekend, so that's going to be one that we're going to have a very serious look at. And everything else football this afternoon. I'm going to Everton tomorrow, playing West Ham. It's a must-win game, that, Andy. We've got to do it. It's a 1:30 kickoff. I should be up at the crack of dawn to get up there. OK, all this and much, much more right up to 1 o'clock here on Talk Sport.
So, what we're talking about is...
Yes.
So, you don't think there's any place in football for the insincere handshake, right? Because, look, football, mate, is riddled with insincerity.
I totally
it's everywhere. When you get off the bus and you see one of the opponents, you go, "Hello, mate, how you doing?" And I don't like him.
Yeah,
I'll shake his hand.
Andy, I totally agree.
And any build up to any game, managers are always talking, giving such high praise of their opponent, but they don't really mean it.
Andy, to start off with, I can't even stand this ridiculous handshake ritual before the game. Utterly stupid and useless.
What, the players?
Yeah, you walk up and down the line, shake hands with everybody. How ridiculous is that? It's nothing. It's meaningless. Don't they understand? A football match is combat. So why have a truce with the enemy before you go to war? I'm not talking about real war. War's disgusting and horrible and we hate it. But one of the reasons we don't have more wars on this planet is because we have football. And football takes the aggression out of rival tribes and that sort of thing.
Isn't it just to show the respect? It's to show the world that these two teams respect each other, that they're prepared to shake the hand of their opponent.
I'd like to see more clubs actually introduce some kind of ritual before the game which challenged the opposition and not placated the opposition. So, for instance, I'm a huge fan of the haka, OK? Because
you want the gauntlet thrown down?
I do want the gauntlet thrown down in some way. I want the challenge to be put there, OK? The haka is fantastic because it goes right back to the tribal instincts of man. Mm-hmm. You know, we are, competitive with you to the extent where we're going to physically battle you. And do you know what? One of the reasons why the All Blacks are as dominant as they are is because no country in the world anywhere that's ever played the All Blacks has managed to diffuse the effect that the haka has on the opposition. I mean, I've talked to Will Carling about this. I've talked to, outstanding English rugby union players, World Cup winners. Yeah. And they simply don't know what to do.
So perhaps we can get our listeners to text us in, Mike, some of their ideas of, this gauntlet that's being thrown out. I mean, like a Morris dance or something for the Everton players, if they started doing that.
Yeah, you're getting foolish now. Morris dancing, of course, is something completely different. Although I'm in favour of Morris dancing.
Thank you.
And I hope it perpetuates for a long time because it's very traditionally English. But no, what I'm saying is, if a group of players, highly paid players, got together and had their own way of demonstrating a little bit of contempt for the enemy before the game, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Right.
Now, the thing about Mr. Pochettino is he's saying, I'm not apologising for not ringing up Claudio Ranieri and congratulating him on winning the Premier League. Because that's
the title off him.
It took the title off them, exactly. Because that's something traditionally managers have always done. I remember going back years and years, when Howard Kendall won the Premier League for Everton, he said one of the first calls he got was from the Liverpool manager, who was Kenny Dalglish at the time.
Right.
But you've got to remember that the league title never left the city of Liverpool for 6 consecutive years. So they were very much on the same level, you know what I mean?
Very true. I speak to quite a lot of managers, and they say when they have to go into the opposing manager's room after the game to have that
for a glass of red wine,
that they don't really want to be in there.
Really?
Well, a lot of them. It's changed now. Because
Wenger never does it, does he?
I don't think Arsene Wenger's particularly keen on that.
I don't think he does it.
I think he prefers to have his own family and his own close friends in there. And actually, I get that. Why be insincere? At least be up front.
I totally agree. Some managers would get together because they're pals. So Alex Ferguson and Sam Allardyce, no problem at all.
Yeah.
But some managers who clearly don't like each other, and most managers didn't like Jose because he was so provocative and probably still don't.
Yeah.
Why would you do it?
Well, how could Jose and Antonio Conte possibly have gone and had a glass of wine after what was said after that game the other week?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I do sort of understand where you're coming from, but I'm not sure. Football's the most insincere business out of the lot, Mike.
It's not as insincere as show business, actually,
really?
When you get into show business is, 1 minute everybody's telling you you're brilliant, next minute, bang, you're dropped and all that kind of stuff,
really?
You know what I mean? I see old, is it Mariah Carey?
Mariah Carey, yes.
Mariah Carey, I see she just split up with her boyfriend. And
you find that funny?
I don't find it funny. What I find funny, because the boyfriend is
a billionaire,
the billionaire Australian Kerry Packer's son, actually, Jamie Packer.
Is that right?
Yeah. A $10 million wedding ring, and she's keeping it. So, she's got her head screwed on the right way. But, no, what I'm saying about Mr. Pochettino. Yeah.
How is Al nowadays, Al Pacino? Yeah. I mean, he made that seamless transition from movies, didn't he, to football?
He did. But no, I admire him for saying, why should I? Because remember the famous French philosopher, Francois Duc de la Rochefoucauld, right?
Pardon?
Was the man who originally said, it's not just important for me to succeed in life, it's also important for my friends to fail. And a lot of sort of, people through the years, like Gore Vidal, the American author, took that on.
Really?
And they're not just happy to do well in life, they want their friends to fail. And that is a trait which I think is admirable in people.
Did Gore Vidal take that on or not? Or did he pass that on to Gore Vidal?
No, he was Gore Vidal. Anyway, the point I'm making is that you've got to be your own man, and Pochettino certainly is. Now, never mind Pochettino and all this, you're trying to get off the subject that I was going to ask you about.
Go on.
You've bought a power bike. What's a power bike?
No, an electric bike. Now, look,
electric bike's not a bike, is it?
The world has gone cycling mad, isn't it? Let's be fair.
Well,
I'm amazed.
It's ruined all major cities. All major cities now grind to a halt with traffic because huge areas of the roads are given over to blue track lanes, which are cycle superhighways, which cyclists never use apart from 2 hours a day, 5 days a week.
But I am not. Listen, I'm not one of those. I mean, Lee Dixon, mate. He's on his bike, something like, I don't know. He'll be on the phone in a minute.
Bike,
300 kilometres a week.
300 kilometres a week.
Yeah, that is how much he's into his cycling.
Well, that's only 150 miles.
Oh, well, only. Sorry.
Yeah. You do that over 6 days, And that's 25 miles a day. That's not much on a bike.
I don't know if he's on it every day of every week, but the point I'm making is I don't want to go lycra mad and get all the gear.
So what does this bike do that ordinary bikes don't?
Well, basically, you can adjust the power setting on it, so as you can pedal as much as you like, pedal as hard as you like, for as far as you like. If you want to turn it off, it's just a normal bike. But when you get a bit knackered, and when there's a hill in front of you that you're thinking, do you know what? I've had enough, and I don't really want to push it up there. You can apply a bit of power, and you still have to pedal, but you don't even have to get off the saddle. It just takes you up.
It's not cycling then, is it? It's like being on a motorbike.
Well, it's not a motorbike, is it? Because you're still having to pedal.
It's that bike we saw this morning, and we were watching a cycling on the screens, the velodrome and all that.
Yeah.
The bloke who was setting the pace looked like he was delivering pizza, didn't he? He did. Looked like the Domino's pizza man.
He did. But I think you should get an electric bike to get in from Surrey.
I have thought about it, and I've seen them priced up at about £2,000.
They are, they're not cheap.
Is that what you paid for yours?
Yeah. They're
about
not cheap.
£2,000, okay. And I thought I will, but you know what happened? Last time I got a bike, I paid £400 for it. I only had it 2 weeks, it got stolen.
Where from?
My secure, locked underground car park below my penthouse flat.
So didn't you go knocking on literally every flat's door and say, have you pinched my bike?
Andy, there was an eyewitness to the fact that these guys drive around in open back trucks, right?
Yeah.
They spot a bike. They might even see somebody getting off their bike and walking into their... and they take an opportune moment to nick it. And what these guys did, they waited until a car had come out.
Right.
They were literally waiting in the bushes.
Yes.
They waited for a car to come out. They'd seen me go back in and chain my bike up, right?
Yep.
Once they're inside, it doesn't matter because they opened the door from the inside. They got the bolt cutters. They cut the 2 chains that I'd secured the bike with to a rail inside.
Yep.
And they were away with it within a minute.
Wow.
And the police told me, because I reported it for insurance purposes, it's a very, very active crime in affluent areas.
Is that right?
Stealing bikes,
There you go.
You've got to be very careful.
Talk Sport. On air, online and on TV at Sky Channel 0108.
When you mentioned earlier on in the show, the start of the show, about the lip readers.
Yes.
And what they do have, all these clubs, Mike, they do have people looking at, like these numbers we've just been talking about, analysing stats left, right and centre, analysing this, analysing...
But can't you overanalyse?
Well, yeah, maybe you can. They only support, don't they, what you see. The fact that, this data, it only ever supports actually what you witness. If you go and see Everton tomorrow, and after 45 minutes you're 1 down and you're not playing well, you don't need someone to pass a piece of paper around saying to me, look at that. You can see what you see.
Do you know the most amazing thing is? I mean, years ago, I suppose it's because now pitches are so much better and all that kind of stuff, you always might get a sort of gut feeling that, we're going away to so-and-so, but we can hit them on the break and you might win 3-0 or something like that. You can't really get away with that now. I heard an amazing statistic that 80% of teams who score first at home win the game. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because, normally speaking... I'm the sort of football fan that when we score once, my heart is in my mouth because I so badly want to hang on to that lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fear of an equaliser, the fear of the opposition getting 2. I never celebrate the first goal. Never. To me, it's just not worth celebrating.
See, when we had the United Antonio Conte, the United Chelsea scenario, after the game, Jose was saying things like, because I thought United were poor and second best to Chelsea pretty much all over the pitch.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And yet Jose said their defenders had more balls than mine. Their goalkeeper has more saves to make than mine. So that's where stats are he's just throwing that out, and that's rubbish.
And he's a famous quote about, figures and damn statistics. You can do anything with them. You make them sing any way you want.
But they all
That's
have...
what politicians do.
What I'm saying is they all have these analysts, Mike,
sure.
and they use these numbers to support and back up what they see and what they feel.
And you touched on the Sunderland situation with Graham, but you didn't really touch on Moisey in the sense when you said that he's in a perilous position. Yeah. Surely the stats that you highlighted there, the fact that only one man ever scores goals for them, dooms them, doesn't it?
Well, look, they've got a really tough game, which is just about to start.
Do you feel sorry for Moisey?
I don't think I feel sorry for him because, look, he doesn't need feeling sorry for.
No, exactly.
What I hope is that he can find something from somewhere to get their season going. But listen, they're up against a very capable Arsenal team with some players that are very much in form.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very, very tough. And you know what? Premier League football, when you're struggling and And when you're playing at home against some of the biggest teams, Mike, it can be even much harder than going on your travels.
Oh, I'm sure it can, because of the pressure of the crowd on your
definitely.
back and get.
Without doubt.
You know what'll happen. You know, it won't be too long before the fan will come out onto the touchline, rip his season ticket up, hurl it at David Moyes and all that. David Moyes doesn't deserve that, by the way.
I actually don't think. I think the Sunderland fans now will realise that there is something going on at their club which is fundamentally flawed and fundamentally wrong. Not only is it down to
it's because Sunderland's unfashionable, by the way. As a city, Sunderland is very unfashionable.
Well, there's 45,000 there today, sold out.
Of course there's 45,000 there today, because they're a fanatical football city, and I'm not putting them down at all. But what I'm saying is, caught between sort of, you know, the sort of culture of Durham, the culture of Newcastle, and then you've got Sunderland. All I'm saying is, and I'm not being rude to the people of Sunderland, but footballers on Europe have never really heard of Sunderland, if you see what I mean. And it's difficult to get great players to go there and sort of, you know, give their heart and soul to
Do you know, me and Gazza, we used to live at Seaham. Well, he had the house.
Seaham's beautiful.
We lived there, right on the coast, beautiful spot. But it was it was like a big house, and he used to he was petrified staying in there on his own.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and we used to play snooker pretty much every day, because he had a snooker table in the house, and he owes me £7 million.
7 million, just
started off
7 million.
Started off a fiver a game.
Driven to the limit. Power steering.
Talk Sport.
Right, there you go. You're listening to Talk Sport. Andy, we haven't had time yet, really, to analyse a couple of the games ourselves, OK? No. I want you to tell me what you think's going to happen at Manchester United-Burnley. I think Burnley, I would say this, wouldn't I, because Everton lost to them last week, but they show tremendous spirit. Sean Dyche gets in there, tells his boys, this is the way you're going to play it, lads.
Yeah, beaten Liverpool and Everton on their own patch.
Yes, they have.
I mean, the Everton one, actually, Ronald Koeman after the game. You didn't go to that one, Mike?
No, I didn't go, no.
Didn't go to that
it's
one.
a very last minute, 90th minute winner.
Nothing
worse
than that.
But
look, I think Burnley definitely look a far better, stronger, more capable outfit than the one a couple of years ago that just run out of legs. I think this Burnley team's got a little bit more to it. Yeah. And I think in lots of ways, I think the key for a lot of these teams, when they either newly promoted or teams that are trying to establish themselves in the Premier League, stay in games, Mike. Yeah. Stay in the game.
Yep.
You know, I think fans always want to urge you on to have a real go at an opponent, especially some of the bigger teams. They want you to go flying forward and trying to attack. But I think the idea, you look at the likes of Tony Pulis.
Attack. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tony, his team's always hard to beat. West Brom, staying in games.
Yep.
Don't throw the game away. Don't concede a goal, even if you go 2 down. If you go 2 down, if you don't go mad and go crazy trying to score within a minute of the opposition getting that second goal, stay there, stay with it, and dig in, and you just might get a chance. 2-1, all of a sudden the game's on a knife edge. And that, I think, for Burnley is important this season, to try and stay in games, be as competitive as they can. If they go behind, don't beat themselves up, hang in there, and I think they're a far more capable team. I think at the moment they look like they're going to stay up, they're going to survive, no problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are helped by the fact that the teams...
is there 3 worse than Burnley? Yes, there is.
Yeah, exactly. The 3 teams occupying the 3 bottom places at the moment, they're in danger of getting cut adrift. Certainly Swansea and Sunderland, the bottom 2. But Bobcat Bob, who is the new manager at Swansea, got to push the envelope. He's yet really to flex his muscles, has he? Because he only just got there.
He doesn't actually talk like that, does he, Mike?
Well, got to push the envelope and... respect, but I mean, look, I'm not taking the mickey. The guy's got a job to do, and I'm sure he will do it diligently. Now, I'll tell you what, you're busy this afternoon. I'm going to be busy this afternoon, so I'll be really, really happy to settle down and watch the Crystal Palace Liverpool game 5:30 because. Will Liverpool suddenly hit the blip? They hit blips about every 6 or 7 games.
You're hoping so. Of course you are, as an Evertonian.
I would not wish defeat on any club.
When you cast one eye, Mike, and you are obviously, is the green-eyed monster sort of...
Nope.
Is it there?
No, because I wouldn't want to be a fan of any other club except mine. So I don't have any envy for any other teams. I wouldn't feel like I was part of anything.
I just wonder why you picked that fixture out.
Well, I think it's exciting because I think, Palace came to Goodison and achieved a good, solid draw. Liverpool, I think, could be on the rampage.
Of course, but it was at Palace, wasn't it, when under Brendan Rodgers, when Liverpool were going for the title. There,
exactly.
That
3-3 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, that disastrous draw, which
amazing.
In the end proved so costly. But there you go.
It did them in. OK, listen to Talk Sport. We've got a bit to go in the show yet, right up till 1 o'clock. You listen to the warm-up, and it's myself and Andy Townsend.
Yes.
Peter Green was apparently a genius guitarist, right? I mean, in the Eric Clapton mould and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
He's also a great songwriter. He wrote this one,
Albatross.
He wrote Green Man Alicia.
Yes.
But then he had psychological problems.
Right.
He couldn't handle fame. He couldn't handle wealth. He gave an awful lot of his money away from his early recordings.
Did he?
And he disappeared more or less into oblivion. It's Peter Green's 70th birthday
Happy
today.
birthday, Peter. What a song
Happy
this.
birthday, Peter. What a song this is. What a piece of music. And of course...
You must have entertained one or two ladies to this one over the years.
I don't like to go there, Andy, you know what I mean? It's a family show. And remember, MG's not sitting here. He's the alley cat, morals and alley cat man, not me. I wouldn't like to be confused. Anyway, that's Peter Green and that's Albatross. By the way, Andy, before we forget, shall we remind our millions of listeners they've got to put the clock back tonight?
They have indeed.
Now, do you agree with this system of putting the clock back? Do you know why we do it? We do it to keep about 1,500 Scottish farmers happy.
I knew it was something to do with the farmers. Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's a good thing. Do you think the whole country has to go back an hour because a
It
few
doesn't.
of our compatriots up there who are growing the porridge need an extra hour of late at night to take out their tractors.
I don't think anybody likes those darker early evenings, do you? You know, before you get home from work now, it's going to be pitch black. When you're getting up in the morning, it's also still very dark.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone really welcomes that, do they?
Well,
but it also does signal winter's on its way. Buckle down, brace yourself, get ready for it.
By the way, yesterday I was out and about in Surrey, right, and this is now Halloween weekend. I have no recollection at all of ever being in a Halloween weekend when I've seen so many kids walking around dressed. I mean, I'm talking about hundreds of kids.
Right.
In this little town in Surrey, we're all having their Friday afternoon Halloween parties. I suppose it's all happening this weekend, isn't it?
Yep.
But I mean, I can tell you 30 years ago, there was no Halloween in this country, was there?
No, we didn't go.
wasn't.
Actually, I'm just trying to think.
Are you going to a Halloween party tonight?
No, am I?
No.
But I don't think we ever went mad on Halloween with our kids.
But nobody ever does. It's an American thing. First time I was aware of Halloween was when I was working in New York in the mid-'80s. I thought, what's this? And now it's huge here. It's a huge commercial thing. All the big supermarkets start taking out full-page adverts. Look, get your Halloween costumes here and all that kind of stuff.
I thought...
Right, we've got to go up to Sunderland. We're going to talk to Graham, find out where the action's happening. Graham.
It's happened at the Sunderland defensive end. It's Sunderland 0, Arsenal 1. Poor defending here at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Arsenal 1.
Graham, thanks very much indeed.
What a goal. What a fantastic goal. Great delivery as well, Mike.
Was that a great goal or was it a poor defensive
No, great
response?
goal. Listen, sometimes when the ball's whipped in with such pace and you get the right run and someone attacks the ball, fabulous goal. Brilliant goal again. Alexis Sanchez, marvellous stuff.
You talked about Davy Moyes' position. Doesn't look like it's getting any better, does it? Talking about managers, Andy, and of course I know he's a good mate of yours, Sam Allardyce, understood to have turned down the opportunity to perhaps go to Wolves.
Interesting. Well, look, I'm sure Sam will get opportunities. He'll get offers. And it's about the one that he feels gives him the best chance, I think, again, because look, whatever Sam does now, coming into it, he knows he's going to be under even more pressure.
Yes.
And so therefore, I think he'll want to make sure that the job that he takes, if he does want to come back into football, is one that gives him the best opportunity, Mike, to make something happen.
Yeah, he's very good, and I take his Bolton experience as a perfect example of really, injecting loads of energy into less fashionable or smaller clubs, I suppose you could say.
Look, what he did at Sunderland.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, Sunderland, I think there was a point there again. When it was about this time, was it about this time of the season he came in?
It was very early in the season, certainly,
sort of September,
because old Dick Van, what's his name? What was his name?
Yes, Advocar.
Advocar, yeah. Night and mornings, we drink mornings, Advocar. But it didn't work out for him.
No.
And it was a shame, really, because he'd actually given the big speech to his wife. No, darling, I want to go back to Sunderland. And, I sure am out on the stairs, and all that. But after 8 games or 9 games, it was all over.
No.
Now, talking about managers, right? Now, this is an issue I can talk about with authority.
Okay.
Mr. Conte, who is, a very, very energetic touchline manager, is he not?
He is, yep.
He has actually expressed the fear that if he doesn't calm down, he'll give himself a heart attack. He's actually said, he's not been flippant about it. He's actually said, I'm sure the amount of energy and stress that I exude during 90 minutes of a game and throughout my job can't be doing his heart any good.
Now, but you can't possibly relate to your experience because yours was obviously very different, the reasons why you had your problems.
Mine was inherited. You're absolutely right.
No, yours well, it may have been inherited, Mike. You didn't help it, did you, by pouring gallons of white wine down
No, this is a calumny. It's this is a misinformation probably put about by old MG, who looks after his art by lying on sun lounges in the shadow of Mount Etna. But the point is that what I can tell you is this. Mine came because my dad died of the same thing I've got, right? But fortunately, there's greater medical facilities these days to put things right. But the point I was going to make is it is a bit of a fallacy that hard work and stress affects your heart. Now, I know this because I've read a scientific report.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of stress. It keeps you on edge and it keeps your faculties going.
I thought everyone called that the silent killer.
No,
stress.
no. I do think that is a bit of a misnomer, honest to God. There's nothing wrong with a bit of stress. Keeps
Depends
you alert,
what sort of levels, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah. Heart disease is the biggest factor which leads to people dying of hearts. And you might say that's obvious, but what I mean is sudden death heart attacks don't usually happen as sudden death heart attack. It's usually because you've got some sort of heart problem, which may have lain latent for years or something like that. So if he gets himself checked out, and you can check people out these days, everybody should be checked out and see what's going on. I think
actually, the LMA, and I think are very good for the managers and things like that. I think they have very stringent medicals every year, and I think they would make sure that they have all the necessary scans and ECGs and everything else that they do.
But the point I was going to make is there was a James Bond film one, I can't remember which one it was, and they had this mad scientist and they trapped him and said, "You will create the missiles that we want, or we will not give you your heart tablets." Well, that's not the way hearts work. You can't say if you don't give him his tablet, his heart will stop working.
What James Bond film was that?
Was it the one where they changed the pilot over, so that they gave the pilot a face transplant, so he went and stole the Vulcan bomber with it's Thunderball, wasn't it? Was it? Well, nuclear missiles.
Was it one of the early ones, or
one of the early ones? Thunderball. I think it's the third or fourth.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery, definitely. He saved the world, obviously. And
was he the best one for you?
No. I liked Roger Moore. Hang on. We've got to go back up to Sunderland action there. Graham Courtney, thank you.
Yeah, it's an offside goal, though, Mike. So we have got, approaching 25 minutes on the clock here. Sunderland 0, Arsenal 1.
Yeah.
OK, Graham, thanks very much.
Good decision, that, Mike. Yeah, good decision.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it was, because the initial shot was taken. Kazri and Defoe were in an offside position, but it struck an Arsenal defender. And then ricochet to Kazri. He gives it to Defoe, but of course the flag has to then go up.
I thought it was a bit unlucky. Right, OK, folks, you won't believe it, but that's we're coming right close to the end now of the warm-up show. Thank you very much for being with us for the last 2 hours. Andy, thank you in particular for standing in for old MG, that lazy git who's spent most of the last 8 days with his fat posterior parked on a sun lounger in the shadow of Mount Etna. And I have to say, the public response to you being here has been nothing but massively positive. Come back soon, man. We love you. That's the general message that's coming through here to Talk Sport. OK, I, of course, will be back with you next week. I'm the Portmeister. I'll be back with MG. I think he's flying home tomorrow or overnight tonight. And we're on the Two Mike show as of Monday night. Thanks very much for being with us today.
You haven't heard of Howling Wolf?
Well, I can't.